All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're really going deep. We're talking about your inner voice, that constant conversation you have with yourself.
Yes.
We found some really interesting stuff on this topic, really fascinating research on how this self-talk can have huge effects on your brain, your body, and even your reality.
It's powerful.
Yeah, and our mission today is to go through all this material and really boil it down to the core ideas and see what we can learn. And more importantly, what are some actual steps you can take to harness this power?
Yeah, what's really interesting right from the start is that every thought you have actually creates a reaction in your body.
Oh, wow.
Like a chemical reaction. Your brain can't really tell the difference between something that's actually happening around you and something that you are intensely focused on thinking about.
That's so wild.
It is.
Yeah.
So, thinking negative thoughts is literally like giving your body a dose of stress chemicals. Positive thoughts, you're getting a boost of feel-good hormones.
Wow, so we're really talking about shaping our reality from the inside out.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty powerful. And the core idea that we're exploring today is really that, how your habitual self-talk, this internal dialogue, really acts as a program in your brain.
Right.
It influences your biology, and ultimately it's creating the experiences of your life. And so the big question is, how can we actually, rewrite that program for a positive change?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So the material we've been looking at really digs into this idea of self-talk, that inner dialogue. And it's really saying it's fundamental to transformation. It impacts every aspect of who you are becoming. Every thought, like you were saying, creates these biochemical reactions.
Yeah.
And the words that we repeatedly say to ourselves actually fire and wire neural networks in our brain.
It's like walking a path in a field. The more you walk that same path, the more defined it becomes.
Right.
And it's the same thing with our thoughts. The more we think the same thoughts, the more those neural pathways get ingrained.
Oh, that's a really great analogy.
Yeah.
And it really drives home the point that if you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not good enough, you are literally programming your brain to believe that and create that.
Exactly. And that's where the fact that the brain doesn't distinguish well between external reality and what you're thinking about.
Right.
That's what makes this so powerful. Changing your thoughts can actually change your brain structure.
That's incredible.
It is.
Yeah. And so it seems like a lot of us are kind of, navigating life on autopilot. Our past programming, these beliefs and assumptions that we've picked up along the way are running the show.
It's kind of we have the same thoughts, which create the same emotions, which then lead to the same behaviors, which give us the same experiences.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
We're just stuck in this loop.
But the good news is that changing your self-talk can break that cycle.
Okay, yeah.
And that's when you can start to see those changes in your brain, your energy, and in your life.
So it's not just enough to understand the problem,
Yeah.
but we need to actually take action.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's very encouraging.
And it's interesting to think about like big achievements in life. They often start with an internal yes,
Right.
even when the outside world is saying no.
Right. So it's that inner belief.
Yeah.
So it's either elevating us or holding us back.
There's no neutral.
Yeah, there's no in between.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the brain a little bit. Like, how many thoughts do you think we have every day?
Like a crazy number, right? Like 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day.
That's a lot of thoughts.
But here's the thing, like 90% of those are the same thoughts we had yesterday.
Oh, wow. So we're just replaying the same old stuff over and over again.
Pretty much.
And that's why we stay stuck, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And that negative self-talk, it's not just in our heads. It actually has biological consequences.
No.
It releases stress chemicals like cortisol. It can even change gene expression.
Oh, wow.
It impacts the immune system, and it can even drain our energy.
So our thoughts are literally impacting our physical health.
100%.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah. It's like every thought creates a chemical in the body.
Right.
So if you're thinking fearful thoughts, your body is releasing cortisol and adrenaline.
Preparing for that fight or flight.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's all in our minds.
And it's important to remember that your body believes every word of your self-talk.
Right.
So even if it's not a real threat, your body is reacting as if it is.
Wow. Okay. So what about, limiting beliefs? Things like, I'm not good with money, or I'm always unlucky in love. Where do those come from?
Well, it's really interesting. Those limiting beliefs, they aren't facts. They're actually just neural circuits that have been strengthened through repetition.
So it's like those pathways in the field again.
Exactly. The more we think those thoughts, the more those pathways get carved in.
And that's why it can feel so hard to change.
Yeah, because we're literally wired for those beliefs.
So we're not just making this stuff up in our heads. There's actual, like, physical evidence of it in our brains.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people feel like they keep repeating the same patterns in their lives.
Right.
Is because their thought patterns are keeping them stuck.
So how do we break free? I mean, is there hope?
There is. There absolutely is.
Okay, good.
Because the brain is incredibly adaptable.
Right.
We have this thing called neuroplasticity.
Okay.
Which means we can actually create new neural pathways.
So we can rewire our brains.
We can, yeah.
It's very encouraging.
And the good news is you don't have to wait for your outside world to change to start feeling differently on the inside.
Right.
In fact, it often works the other way around.
Interesting. So it all starts with our internal world.
It does.
Our thoughts and beliefs.
And the first step is becoming aware of what those thoughts and beliefs are.
Right.
You can't change what you're not aware of. Absolutely. All right, so now we're aware. How do we actually start to, make those changes? How do we use intentional self-talk to rewire our brains?
So there's this principle called neurons that fire together, wire together.
Okay.
What that means is that when we focus our attention on specific thoughts, we strengthen those connections in our brain.
So by consciously choosing our thoughts.
Yes. We can actually change the physical structure of our brain.
It's like we're retraining our brains.
Exactly. And in every positive affirmation, every time we speak kindly to ourselves, it's not just words. Those words create electrical signals that actually help build new neural pathways.
And it's amazing how the brain, it doesn't always know the difference between a real experience and an imagined one.
Right.
Like Olympic athletes, they use visualization.
Yes, absolutely.
To improve their performance. They're essentially training their brains.
Exactly.
Without even physically doing it.
Yeah, they're creating those neural connections in their mind.
And so by combining positive self-talk with real emotion, with feeling, it becomes even more powerful.
Yes.
Right? It's not just empty words.
You're creating what the material calls a new neural signature.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like you're changing your entire state of being from the inside out.
And it just reminds me of, I was reading about quantum physics and how our thoughts can actually have an impact on reality.
Right. It's the idea that thoughts are energy and that energy interacts with the world around us.
It's like we're broadcasting a signal.
Exactly, yeah.
And by focusing our thoughts and our emotions, we can actually change that signal.
Yes. Absolutely. And when we do that, when we're really focused and we're feeling those positive emotions, we become what the material calls like a quantum creator.
Wow, that's powerful. So it's really about aligning our thoughts and feelings.
Right.
Not just saying positive words, but actually feeling them.
It's about coherence, having your thoughts and feelings in alignment. And, this has a real measurable effect on the body.
Oh, wow.
When we're in a state of coherence, our heart and brain waves actually synchronize. And that creates a really powerful state of being.
Like we're operating at a higher frequency.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that. So when we say, I am worthy, and we actually feel it, we're literally rewiring our brains.
You are, yes. And that new wiring starts to create a new reality for us.
So this focused self-talk, this is the key to creating lasting change.
It is. It's about establishing a new energetic signature, a new baseline of who you are. The material talks about it like tuning a radio dial. We can tune into different frequencies like abundance, health, success, joy.
Oh, I like that. So we can choose the station we want to listen to.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the more we practice, the stronger that signal gets.
And it's really important to do it with conviction. You can't just go through the motions. You have to really feel it.
So every word we say to ourselves is either reinforcing our current reality or creating a new one.
100%. Yeah.
There's no neutral ground.
Right.
Okay. Well, the material we've been looking at actually lays out a very specific 3-day protocol for transformation.
It does, yeah.
So let's break it down. It starts with a morning ritual.
Yeah. The moment you wake up, even before you reach for your phone, you put your hand on your heart.
Okay.
And, that just signals to your body that something different is about to happen. And then for the first 20 minutes of your day, you speak intentional words out loud.
Interesting. So not just thinking them.
Yeah.
But actually saying them out loud.
Yes, in a whisper. Things like, today is the day my new life begins, or I am worthy of abundance.
And we have to actually feel those words as we're saying them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and then what happens?
Well, the key is to really focus during this time. Your mind is going to wander. It's natural, but just gently bring it back to the words.
Okay, so we're literally reprogramming our brains.
Exactly. And then in the afternoon, between 2 and 4 p.m., there's a reinforcement period.
Okay.
And this is where you reconnect with those declarations you made in the morning. But this time you add movement.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like what kind of movement?
You could go for a walk, you could do some gentle stretches, just anything to get your body involved.
So it's not just a mental exercise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day, you have to be vigilant.
Right.
Catch those negative thoughts as they come up.
Like, I can't do this.
Exactly.
This is too hard.
And as soon as you hear yourself thinking those things, you replace them with a positive affirmation.
Right.
So instead of, I can't, you say, I am capable.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's about retraining your brain to think differently.
And then the evening protocol.
Yeah, between 7 and 9 p.m., this is where you take about 15 minutes to reflect. You put your hand on your heart again. And you review any victories you had during the day, no matter how small.
Right.
And you speak to yourself with gratitude and anticipation.
So we're really setting ourselves up for success.
Exactly. Yeah. And these times, these specific windows, they're not random. They're aligned with the brain's natural cycles of receptivity.
Oh, interesting. So we're working with our brain's natural rhythms.
We are, yeah.
That's really cool.
And it's important to be aware of your emotional state throughout the day.
Right. To manage those ups and downs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you feel yourself slipping back into negativity, use your breath to reset. Take a few deep breaths. Remind yourself that you're in the process of transformation. And the material recommends keeping a notebook.
Okay.
To write down any negative self-talk you catch and the positive affirmations you replace it with.
So we can track our progress.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a great idea.
And remember, it's not about being perfect.
Right.
You're going to slip up. It's normal.
Yeah, we're human.
But the key is to just gently redirect your thoughts back to the positive. It's a process.
It's a journey.
It is, yeah.
Okay, well, so we've talked a lot about thoughts and beliefs. But what about the actual physical changes that can happen in our bodies as a result of this self-talk?
It's really fascinating. Your self-talk isn't just a mental exercise. It actually changes your biology.
Wow.
The material describes your body as a chemical factory.
Okay.
And your thoughts are the manager.
Right. So we're in control of what gets produced.
Exactly, yeah. And when we create that heart-brain coherence through positive self-talk, it actually creates a measurable rhythm in our heart rate.
Oh, wow. So it's actually impacting our heart's rhythm.
It is. And, the heart has its own nervous system that sends signals to the brain.
Right, right.
So when we speak kindly to ourselves, it creates a coherent heart rhythm. And that actually reduces stress hormones like cortisol.
So we're calming down our nervous system.
Yes, absolutely. And when that happens, our body starts producing what the material calls chemicals of possibility.
Oh, like what?
Things like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins.
Those feel-good chemicals.
Exactly, yeah. And these chemicals, they don't just make us feel good, they actually signal our genes to express differently.
So our thoughts are actually influencing our DNA.
They can, yeah.
That's
powerful stuff.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And every cell in your body has receptors for these chemicals. So when we flood our system with these positive chemicals, our cells start vibrating at a different frequency.
It's like we're raising our vibration.
Exactly. And that's why people who master their self-talk often report feeling different physically. They have more energy, they have a greater sense of presence, even their posture changes.
Yeah, I've noticed that in people who are really positive.
Yeah.
They seem to carry themselves differently.
Absolutely. It's like our cells actually learn to crave those feel-good chemicals.
Right. And it becomes our new normal.
Yeah. And the energy frequency of your cells increases. They become more efficient, better at repairing themselves. And the reduction in stress hormones also strengthens the immune system.
So it's like a domino effect of positive changes.
It is. And it's important to remember that the body responds to imagined stress just as much as it responds to real stress.
So by reducing negative self-talk.
Yes, we're actually building resilience.
That's amazing. So every word we say is either moving us towards or away from optimal health.
100%, yeah.
Okay. So we're making all these positive changes. But the material also talks about the body fighting back.
Right.
Why would our bodies resist feeling better?
Well, because our bodies can get addicted to those old emotional states. The stress, the worry, the doubt, they get used to that chemical cocktail.
Right.
So when we start introducing new positive chemicals, the body can freak out a little bit.
Oh, like it's going through withdrawal.
Exactly, yeah. And that resistance, that discomfort, it can feel like we're not making progress.
Right.
But actually, it's a sign that we are.
Oh, okay.
It's like when you start a new exercise program and your muscles are sore, it means you're breaking down old tissue to build new, stronger tissue.
So that discomfort is actually a good sign.
It is, yeah. It means we're changing. And the old programming, it's going to try to pull us back.
Right.
It's going to whisper those old negative thoughts in our ear. But every time we resist those thoughts, we're strengthening those new pathways.
So we're literally rewiring our brains.
Yeah, we are. And that discomfort is temporary.
Okay.
But the transformation is permanent.
So it's worth pushing through.
It is.
What are some signs that this transformation is happening?
Well, you might notice that you're sleeping better. You have more energy during the day, your posture improves, you're breathing more deeply.
Oh, okay. Those are good things.
Yeah.
And the material talks about this wall of doubt around day 2.
Right. That's often when the old programming is fighting the hardest.
Right.
But if you push through it, you break through to a whole new level.
So that's actually a good sign.
It is. And the real sign that the transformation is taking hold is when you start catching those negative thoughts more quickly and you automatically redirect them without even having to think about it.
It becomes more effortless.
Yeah, it does.
That's great.
And remember, the discomfort is temporary, but the transformation is permanent.
Right.
So it's important to stay committed even when you don't feel like it.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been really eye-opening. And, one thing I'm curious about is this idea of quantum transformation and the ripple effects.
Right. So it's not just about changing ourselves.
Right.
It's about changing the world around us.
Yeah, like how does that work?
Well, when we change our internal world, it changes the field of possibilities around us. Our relationships shift, opportunities appear, our health improves.
Because we're showing up differently.
Exactly.
Our energy is different.
Respond to that.
So it's not just about us.
Right.
It's about how we impact the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. And the material also talks about these synchronicities.
Yes. Meaningful coincidences that start to happen when we're in alignment.
It's like the universe is conspiring to help us.
It can feel like that. And our DNA can actually change.
Wow.
Our energy field shifts, and we start attracting different experiences into our lives.
So we're literally becoming different people.
Yeah, we are. And that transformation, it can inspire others to change too.
Right.
So it's really powerful stuff.
It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this all sounds pretty amazing, but it also feels like a lot of work. And I think, some people might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Like, where do we even begin?
Yeah, the best time to start is right now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Tomorrow morning is the perfect moment. When you wake up, put your hand on your heart, take a few deep breaths.
Okay.
And make a declaration.
Like what?
Say something like, today I step into my power, or today I create a life I love. Feel those words. Let go of the old stories, the limitations.
Right.
The universe is ready to respond.
So we just have to take that first step,
Yes.
believe in ourselves, and the rest will follow.
It will, yeah. This is about changing our destiny. It's about stepping into our full potential.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so just to recap, the main message today is that our self-talk is incredibly powerful. It shapes our brain, our body, and our reality. And by consciously directing this inner dialogue, we can create profound transformation in our lives.
Absolutely. And as you go about your day, I encourage you to pay attention to that inner voice. What is it saying to you?
Right.
And more importantly, what new story do you want to write?
Yeah, what's the new chapter going to be?
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it valuable.
We did.
Until next time, keep those positive thoughts flowing.